Sports.
With this series tied at 1 apiece, your Rangers lead in the AL West stands at 3.5 games over the Astros. The matchup today is a tough one as Houston runs Dallas Keuchel out to the hill, who is 14-0 at Minute Maid Park this year. Though unbeaten in Houston, Keuchel is certainly beatable. Just look back to the last time he faced the Rangers. They got to him early and often. It's the final game of the season between the Texas rivals, and there's plenty at stake. The Rangers and the Astros meet next on Fox Sports Southwest. Texas Rangers baseball is presented by AT&T Humors TV. Now, the roof is closed down here at Minute Maid Park in Houston, but it's going to be a loud ballpark here this afternoon. The Rangers and the Houston Astros matching up for the final time in the regular season of 2015. And welcome in, everyone, along with Tom Graves, Steve Busby. Glad you could join us this Sunday afternoon, and it is a big Sunday afternoon for your Rangers. They're taking on the Astros, a 3.5 game advantage right now, and the Rangers trying to make it at 4.5 when they leave town. They'll be facing Dallas Keuchel, who is one of the best in the business this year. Rangers, though, had his number last time out.
They did, Buzz. He's probably the leading contender for the Cy Young Award this year. In the 3 other times that he's faced the Rangers, he's only given up 3 runs in 22 innings. But in the last start in Texas, the Rangers got him for 11 hits and 9 runs. The only time in 40 starts he hadn't pitched at least 6 innings in a ball game. So they're coming off a great game against him. Now they're playing him in his home ballpark where he's undefeated this year. So it'll be a good challenge, but they know that they're capable of doing it. They did it the last time they faced him.
A lot of good feelings going for the Rangers. They'll face the 27-year-old southpaw from Tulsa. Rangers have their own southpaw, Martin Perez, on the hill this afternoon. We'll be back with more from Minute Maid Park right after this on Fox Sports Southwest. brought to you by your Texas Ford dealers. Visit your local Texas Ford dealer today. Ford is the best in Texas. By AT&T UVerse TV. UVerse has more live TV channels on the go than cable. And by Southwest Airlines. Book your low fare now at southwest.com. It'll be a near capacity crowd here this afternoon, the finale of the home season for the Astros, the finale of the road season for your Rangers. And before we get things underway, let's head down and check in with Emily Jones.
Well, Buzz, the Rangers lost for the first time on this road trip yesterday here in Houston. And Prince Fielder says this is a team that has grown used to winning and expects to win pretty much every game.
Yeah, that's a good feeling to have. I mean, you have a good team, and, that's the feeling you got to have, or else it's going to be tough to play because it's very competitive, especially in the big leagues. So you got to feel like you can win every game.
So they'll look to get back to those winning ways today against a very tough pitcher in Dallas. Keuchel, Martin Perez, of course, going for the Rangers, and we will have the first pitch and the lineups coming up for you next here on Fox Sports Southwest.
Final game between these two in the regular season this year, and Tom's going to tell you now about the Southwest Airlines Texas Rangers lineup.
For the Rangers, it'll be Delino DeShields leading off. He's riding a 7-game hitting streak and hitting .393 during that streak. Shin-Soo Choo is a .542 on-base percentage guy. In September, he'll bat second. Adrian Beltre is third, followed by the cleanup hitter, Prince Fielder. Mike Napoli gets the start in left field. Mitch Moreland is at first base. Elvis Andrus, a .302 hitter in his last 14 games, is batting seventh. Rougned Odor is batting eighth, and Chris Jimenez, the catcher, will bat ninth.
And that lineup for Jeff Bannister facing the left-hander from Tulsa, Oklahoma, by way of the University of Arkansas. 27-year-old southpaw Dallas Keuchel. Keuchel, fastball, a very good moving fastball, an occasional curveball along with his great changeup. one of just 3 18-game winners in the American League. And, well, he is at the top of his game this year, especially in this ballpark. He is 14-0 in 2015 here at home, an ERA of about 1.5. And he is on a streak of 15 straight wins when you go back to last year. Last time he was beaten here was a year ago this September. So he has been very, very tough at home facing the Rangers this afternoon. Rangers come in, as we have been telling you, on a great roll offensively. They're hitting .330 during the first 5 games of this road trip, averaging nearly 8 runs per game. The liner to Shields, Shin-Soo Choo and company looking to take it back out to Dallas Keuchel one more time. And take a look at the Astros defense behind Keuchel here this afternoon. Outfield with Rasmus Marisnik and Springer, left, center, and right. Infield, Carter, Altuve, Correa, and Gonzalez with Castro catching. And the Astros second in the American League in fielding percentage with .987. So they are very, very good as far as catching the ball and throwing accurately to the bases. Well, the Rangers and Astros have split the first 2 games of this series. So the rubber game here this afternoon, and Dallas Keuchel with the first pitch of the day is a little bit low for ball 1. The liner to Shields leading off, hitting at .263. The Shields a couple of home runs, 34 driven in. He is 2 for 9 in his brief career against Dallas Keuchel. Pitch is outside, and the count goes to 2 balls and no strikes. Keuchel making his 32nd start of the 2015 campaign. He and Colin McHugh, his teammate, both 18-game winners. They have the most wins of any duo in the major leagues this year, 36 between them. Shot to Carter at first, a nifty backhand. And Delino is retired, 1 out.
Oh, well-placed defensive alignment right there for Carter. Way off the line, trying to cut down the hole between first and second. Delino hit it sharply, but he hit it right at him. Maybe next time up, they'll shoot one right down the line for a triple.
Now, one away here is Shin-Soo Choo. Choo has homered in back-to-back games. Comes in hitting .250 in his career against Dallas Keuchel. .275 for Choo. That's his highest average of the year. 20 home runs, 77 driven in. Check swing foul. It's 0-1. Rangers come into the game this afternoon 5th in the American League in hitting. They are down up to .258, and that's on the strength of hitting better than .300 for the last 2.5 weeks of play. Choo trying to bunt his way aboard. He bunted through it. It is no balls and 2 strikes. The appeal that time went down to third base umpire Brian Knight, who made the decision.
I would have missed that one. Looked like he brought it back. Maybe he bunted at it and then brought it back.
Jeff Bannister agrees with you, though, judging by the look on his face. 0-2 pitch. Keuchel, we've seen in the past against left-handed hitters, very, very good at running that fastball down and into them. Starts off in the strike zone and tails down and in, and most left-handers have a difficult time getting the head of the bat to it. Left-hander again with an 0-2. Now a ball and 2 strikes. Keuchel made his 2nd start of the year against the Rangers. That was in Arlington back on April the 12th. Worked 7 innings, gave up 2 runs on 6 hits. Did not figure in the Astros win that night. It was a 6-4 Houston win. Then faced the Rangers down here and took the loss. Rangers defeated him 2-1. That was back on May 4th. And that was the date in which the Rangers started turning things around. They came in prior to that series 8-16, their low water mark for the year, and beat Dallas Keuchel in the opener of that 3-game series. Went on to sweep the Astros. And as they say, the rest is history. The Rangers have gotten back to 15 games over 500, their high water mark. That was before yesterday's loss. High and tight. And Chu now has run the count full. No, 3 balls, 2 strikes. Chu trying to get aboard with 1 out. Adrian Beltre, the Rangers' third baseman, is next. Keuchel studying the signs, goes to the wind. Payoff pitch. Hit hard, and that one is by Carter into right field.
He threw Chu everything around the strike zone. Got to 3-2. Didn't want to walk him, threw him a strike, and Chu ripped it into right field, just like he's been doing for the last couple of months. 352 since the All-Star break. 216 at bats. He's hit 352. 8th pitch, he gets a fastball to hit, drills it into right field.
Oh, 1 on, 1 out. Here comes Mr. Beltre. Adrian stepping in, a 280 hitter. Took an 0 for 3 yesterday, but got on and scored a run. 16 home runs, 70 driven in. Has a home run in his career against Dallas Keuchel. And he takes low and outside for ball 1. Rangers have made a habit of scoring early and often against the Astros. They've scored multiple runs in each of the first 2 games of the series. And Adrian Beltre, a big part of that. That's low and outside. 2 balls, no strikes. You saw Adrian's average .430 over the last 15 ball games. Rangers lost for the first time in 10 ball games yesterday when they scored first. The 2-0 pitch coming. And 3-0. Well, Beltre eyeballing both sides of the plate against Keuchel, and Keuchel now in danger of putting 2 aboard. Oh, the Ranger cleanup man, Prince Fielder. Real pitch. Inside, ball 4. And Beltre joins Chu. Well, a single, a walk, and here comes Fielder. Well, maybe Dallas Keuchel remembering his last outing against the Rangers more than the Rangers are against him.
Yeah, and I don't know how you factor this in, Buzz, and I don't know if it even means anything, but 2013 Keuchel threw 153 innings. Last year he threw 200 innings for the first time, and this year he comes into this game with 219 innings. So he's definitely had the highest workload that he's ever had in his brief career. He's 27 years old. He didn't think that was any kind of an issue with him.
Yeah, I don't know how that factors in either, to be quite honest. Anymore, I guess you're always looking for something that stands out as being different. But whether it has a bearing on him pitching better or worse,
yeah, I don't know either.
Don't know. So here's Prince. Fielder steps in at 3:07. And Keuchel misses low and outside. Now you can say either Keuchel is being extremely careful and nibbling a bit, or he's just not, command-wise, not sharp yet. And whichever is the case, maybe a combination of both. Rangers need to capitalize on it.
Yeah, definitely. Get him early.
There is a strike. 1-1. Fielder, 22 home runs, 90 RBI. And despite his offensive downturn, he's still in the top 6 batting in the American League. That's in the dirt. It gets by. Going to third is Chu. Into second is Beltre. Castro had it blocked. It was right down between his feet. He couldn't find it. And that allows the extra 90 feet by Chu and Beltre.
Great opportunity for Prince to drive in a run. He's ahead in the count. The infield will be playing back up the middle and at first base. Get him in with a fly ball and get him in with a ground ball. And get both of them in with a base hit, maybe.
Well, the wild pitch, second and third now. 2 balls and a strike. Boy, Prince had one to work with, a hanger. And just missed it.
Yeah, he Still a slower pitch. Prince a little bit out in front of it. Almost worked like a changeup.
2-2 now to Fielder. Astros infield playing back. They will give up the run for the out if Prince can put it in play. And he does. Out to Altuve at second. That'll get the run home. Fielder is retired. In to score Shin-Soo Choo. And once again, the Rangers out in front in the first. 1-0.
Good job by Prince. Got a tough lefty, and he doesn't want him to put the ball in play. He's trying to strike him out right there. He made a pretty good pitch with a breaking ball down and away. Probably not a strike. It's the one Prince missed before it that was high, actually. This one was way out of the strike zone. But he's doing whatever he can to put the ball in play and get that run in, and he accomplished it.
Boy, that is the epitome of a run producer right there.
I'm getting you in one way or the other.
Big RBI, man. He feels that's what his job is, and Prince Fielder finds a way to get it done. Here's Napoli with Beltre at third, and Knapp takes the breaking ball for strike one. Napoli overall a .223 hitter with 17 home runs, 48 RBI. 3 for 6 in his career against Keuchel. That home run was the one he hit last time that he faced Keuchel in Arlington. Out of play to the right. Keuchel now with a quick advantage, 0-2. Napoli as a Ranger this time around, a .308 hitter. Last 11 ball games, Knapp has crushed it to a .353 mark. No balls, 2 strikes, 2 outs. Adrian Beltre at third. Rangers out in front to an early 1-0 lead. Check swing and just a bit low. 1-2. Rangers this year, when scoring first, are 65-23. Yesterday, their 23rd loss when they have been able to do that. That's inside. 2-2. And a stadium full of umpires, giving the home plate umpire the business.
It looks a lot closer to the strike zone from way back in the stands than it did to the umpire. It was obviously inside.
Keuchel from the stretch. This is high and away. 3-2.
And Keuchel's got a base open, 2 bases open actually. Left-hand hitter coming up next. And Knapp took him deep in a hurry in Arlington. A line shot to right center field. So stands to reason he's going to be careful with him right here, trying to get him to swing at a pitch out of the strike zone.
27th pitch of the first inning. Got him swinging. Well, he comes back with a breaking ball, gets Napoli, but the Rangers jump out in front early. A run on a hit, they lead one after a half inning. Rangers 1, Astros coming up. Lead 1-0 after a half inning, and Tom's going to tell you now about the Houston Astros lineup.
For the Astros, Jose Altuve gets it started. He had his first career multi-home run game yesterday. George Springer will bat second. Carlos Correa with a couple of home runs yesterday will bat third. Evan Gattis leads the Astros in home runs and RBIs. He'll be the cleanup hitter. Colby Rasmus is the fifth place hitter, followed by Marwin Gonzalez. Chris Carter, 4 home runs in his last 8 games, will bat seventh. Jason Castro's the catcher. And batting ninth is the center fielder, Jake Marisnick.
And our progressive scouting report on Martin Perez here this afternoon. 24-year-old left-hander trying to still sort out his inconsistencies. It's getting better. Better last time out at maintaining control of himself. Didn't get quite as visibly shaken in a couple of the rough innings. In the process of rebuilding the confidence. And immediately Altuve is going to have extra bases to start this game off. Second time in this series that Altuve has hit the first pitch of the game for a double.
Altuve loves to swing the bat, and he loves to swing it early in the count. And if you throw him a fastball on the first pitch and it's anywhere near the plate, he's going to swing at it. And that pitch looked like a pretty good pitch, down and in. And he hit a ground ball and found a hole with it. Next time it might go right to Adrian.
Well, Altuve at second base now. Nobody out. Here's George Springer. And that's going to get. They're going to make a throw to get Altuve at third, and they got him.
Wow! It's been a long time since I've seen that. The second baseman playing back, throwing out a fast runner, going from second to third.
And there was no hesitation on the part of Rougned Odor, and there couldn't have been. Watch this thing.
I can't remember the last time I saw it anyway, let alone with a fast runner and the second baseman playing back pretty far. That's a great play right there by Odor.
A huge play here in the first, if you want to call 2 pitches into the game huge. It was.
I'm thinking a big play.
He was helped out a little bit. You saw in the replay, Altuve had to wait just for a second to make sure that ball was not a line drive that was going to carry to the infielder. But just that little hesitation got Odor enough time to throw him out.
Stops, looks, takes off. I'm sure he assumes that he's going to third base and that the throw was going to first.
Right.
But Odor probably sensed that he had to pause for a second. He never hesitated.
Well, a very, very important now. That's like getting back-to-back strikeouts with a guy at third base. Get that runner thrown out, going from second to third. Carlos Correa, the hitter. Correa, a .282 average. Hit his 20th and 21st home runs of the year yesterday. 21 home runs ties Lance Berkman for the Astros franchise record for home runs by a rookie. And the 21 home runs also the most by a young shortstop. Perez with a 1-0 pitch. 1 ball and 1 strike. Well, Martin Perez getting helped out a little bit, trying to help himself now. 1-1 pitch to Correa. Painting both corners.
Well, that's the key for Martin. Throw his sinker, get ground balls, and go in and out and hit the corners. That's pretty much his game plan. Mix in his changeup along with it and his breaking ball. Days where he's got command and is doing that, those are the days he has good games.
Right back to Martin. They go to second, they get 1. Return to first in time. What a fitting cap to the first inning. A great play by Odor. A great pitch by Perez turns into 2. And the Astros are gone virtually in order. After 1, Rangers by 1. Folks, the pennant races are in full swing, and you can keep up with them in true HD quality on MLB.TV Premium. You can watch every out-of-market game live on more than 400 supported devices. You get real-time highlights, live look-ins, pitch tracking widget, and a whole lot more. Just visit MLB.TV today. Well, Mitch Moreland will start things off against Dallas Keuchel here in the Rangers' second. Mitch takes strike one. It'll be Moreland, Andrus, and Odor. First three Rangers, the Rangers flashing some significant leather in the bottom of the first inning. Great play by Rougned Odor, then an outstanding job by Martin Perez. Got Carlos Correa to tap into a double play.
He made a great pitch to him. Hit the outside corner and then came in and jammed him.
Moreland taps one. Keuchel off the mound to field it nicely. If Keuchel doesn't get that, that's a base hit.
Yeah, and a lot of left-handed pitchers, or any pitcher, right-hand pitchers especially, are not going to be able to make the play on that. Keuchel won the Gold Glove last year. Nobody gets to more balls than he does as a pitcher. He showed you why right there.
All right, Kubota Power Stats talking about Dallas Keuchel. 14-0 at home this season. The MLB record for most wins without a loss in a season is 13. So if Keuchel goes maybe not a win or at least undefeated today, he will set the new record. Bet the Red Sox in the 44 season and 46 season. And a couple of pitchers who are both 13-0. One ball, no strikes to count to Elvis Andrus. Elvis at 259. 231 career mark against Dallas Keuchel. One ball and one strike. Elvis, a career high 7 home runs this year. He has driven in 59. But he is just 8 shy of his career RBI record. Popped up down the right field line. Long run for Springer. He can't get there. Drops untouched and then bounds back into the seats. 1 ball and 2 strikes. Astros, you remember, 2 series ago in Arlington, we noticed that the outfielders playing very, very shallow with Odor and Andrus, particularly to the off side for a right-handed hitter. The right fielders playing very shallow. That's not as much the case down here in Houston with the shorter porch, but Springer still relatively shallow. Keuchel's 1-2 to Andrus. That'll even the count. Now the left-hander back to the plate. That is lashed foul down the right side. Still 2-2. Saw the number on Elvis, 313 average. He's going back over the last 14 ball games. Has hit 302. Just inside, 3-2. So Elvis trying to get aboard with 1 out. Rougned Odor, the Rangers' second baseman, will be next. Keuchel likes to work quickly, doesn't stray very far from the top of that mound. Now he and Castro having a little trouble getting together on the signs for the 3-2 pitch. Check swing on the changeup. It's blowing outside. And Keuchel has walked his second man.
The Rangers are doing a great job of laying off the close pitches today. They've forced Keuchel to throw 37 pitches already. And, you know, in a lot of the games where Keuchel pitches strongly through 7, 8, 9 innings, a lot of the swings come in pitches that are slightly out of the strike zone.
Yep.
And the Rangers now have faced him for the 5th time, and they're able to recognize the pitches and lay off them early in this game.
First pitch to Odor is low and outside. Well, the at-bat that Elvis just had was the 4th 3-ball count that Keuchel's had in the first 7 hitters.
Yep. And as a team, that's one thing they've been doing very well the last 6 weeks is making the pitcher throw a lot of pitches, not helping him out by swinging at pitches out of the strike zone.
Fastball right down through there. 1 ball and 1 strike. Odor at 269. 15 home runs, 58 driven in. And again, those numbers tempered a little bit by Rougned missing 6 weeks of the big league season when he was at AAA. 2-1.
Now, right now, Keuchel's thrown 40 pitches, 20 strikes, and 20 balls. That's a very unusual number for him. An even amount of balls and strikes. A lot of it has to do with the Rangers not swinging at pitches that are close but not strikes.
And that pitch is low. 3-1. Yeah, you know, we talk a lot about when you have a sinker baller on the mound about making him get the ball up. Well, that's a lot easier said than done, isn't it?
Definitely. Yeah. And a guy, you know, the guy throws a lot of strikes, and he's around the plate, and the tendency is to help him out a little bit, and they're not doing it.
That one's popped foul off the fist. The count has gone full.
And if you do have a very good sinker ball pitcher, and Keuchel's one of the best, almost a 3.8 ground ball to fly ball ratio, the best in the American League. And he's throwing the ball down at the bottom of the strike zone, and it's sinking out of the strike zone low. If you swing at those and put them in play, you're definitely going to hit a ground ball.
Yep.
Probably not a hard ground ball either.
No, full count with 1 out. We'll see if Elvis is on the move. He is gone. The pitch is tapped down the first base side, and Keuchel able to throw out Odor. Well, that's out number 2. Andrews moves into scoring position now, and Chris Jimenez will come to the plate.
Keuchel very agile, very quick on the mound. Mentioned last inning that he had won the Gold Glove last year for a pitcher. Ball similar to this in the first game of this series was thrown away down the right field line by Scott Kazmir, who evidently has had some problems throwing to first base. Not Keuchel, though.
Well, the number 9 man, Chris Jimenez. 271 with 5 home runs, 14 driven in, 1 for 3 in the previous matchups against Dallas Keuchel. 1 ball, no strikes. Jimenez back behind the plate today. And Rangers have been good when Chris has been back there. He has 5-game hitting streak and a .412 clip. 1-1. In the previous 27 starts behind the plate for Chris Jimenez, the Rangers have gone 23-4. Keuchel a check of second. 1-1 pitch. Chris Jimenez checking with Vic Carapazza, the home plate umpire. Just make sure that was a strike. Carapazza, yep, it was. A ball and 2 strikes with 2 outs. Two and 2. Chris Jimenez, during his 5-game hitting streak, has scored 5 runs. He has driven in 3. It has been a very productive run for the Ranger backstop. Trying to pick up Elvis from second base here in the second. Full count. That is the 5th full count now for Keuchel in the first 9 hitters that he's faced.
He has 24 balls, 24 strikes. This will be his 49th pitch in the second inning.
Jimenez trying to keep it going. The top of the order, and Delano to Shields will be next. Time called. Yeah, and this is not the time of year where you have an extra 20 or 30 pitches in your arm either.
No, I wouldn't think so.
Now the left-hander's ready. The payoff pitch coming to Jimenez. Got him swinging. Chris not able to make contact. Keuchel gets his second strikeout. Rangers get a walk but strand a runner after 1.5. Rangers 1, Astros nothing. Well, it's time now for you to tweet your strongest fan photo. Just use hashtag Southwest Data Strong Fan, and you just might see yourself in one of our upcoming broadcasts. All this made possible by the good folks at T-Mobile, and we'll show you today's selection a little bit later on. The Rangers on top, 1-0. Martin Perez back to the hill. He will face Evan Gattis, Colby Rasmus, and Marwin Gonzalez for the Astros. And Gattis first ball swinging. Elvis on to Moreland. One pitch and one away. And Martin Perez now has thrown 7 pitches. He's gotten 4 outs.
They don't waste any time swinging, boy. And that works in Martin's favor. If he's throwing that sinker down low, like we talked about with Keuchel, you start it at the bottom of the strike zone. You get an aggressive team that swings at it as it sinks down and out of the strike zone, and you get the weakly hit ground balls that they've hit. Now, Altuve hit his pretty well. Nevertheless, it was just a ground ball that found a hole right down the line. Other ones haven't been hit very hard.
Colby Rasmus had a home run yesterday and off of Sam Freeman. Takes the pitch just outside for ball 1. Rasmus, his 22nd home run of the year. He has driven in 55. Had pretty good luck, left-hander versus left-hander against Martin Perez. 1 ball and 1 strike. Rasmus 232. Third time and now in the last 4 seasons that Rasmus has had 20 or more home runs in a season. 2-1. Perez rubbing that new baseball up, now back on top of the hill, looking in for the sign. Left-hander with a 2-1 offering. 3-1. Rasmus hitting 5th in the order. He'll be followed by the third baseman, Marwin Gonzalez. Full count. Looks like Rasmus taking all the way. The walks have not really been an issue for Martin Perez. Been averaging about 1 every 3 innings, maybe a little bit more. Payoff pitch. Fouled off. And let's take a look at the Ranger defense this afternoon, brought to you by DeMontron RV. Outfield, Napoli to Shields and Chu left, center, and right. Elvis at short, and 5 chances per 9 innings, the most of any major league shortstop. He's joined by Odor, Moreland, and Beltre at the corners, and Martin Perez gets strikeout number 1 as Rasmus gone waving at that fastball.
Good pitch. I don't know if there's a strike. Let's see where it is. Check the glove. Yeah, looks like down and away. Definitely. Rasmus to chase one well out of the strike zone.
That was either a cutter or an extremely hard slider, which I don't think Martin throws. That wasn't his normal two-seam fastball.
That was about 7 inches away from the end of the bat, too.
You don't see Martin throw a pitch that hard that does that very often. I think he might have crossed up Rasmus with it. Now Marwin Gonzalez is switching and hitting infielder, takes a full hack and fouls it back. Gonzalez a .277 average with the 11 home runs, 33 driven in. Gonzalez taking his time getting back in there. Now he's ready. And the 0-1 pitch is coming from Perez. High in the air, down the left side, up above the rails.
That went through it, didn't it?
Yeah, I think it did.
It looked like it went, well, it didn't touch anything, but it looked like it went right through it.
Up above the ceiling truss, it looked like. Yeah. Because of the rarity of that, we don't have a camera that's going to show you a replay of that.
Well, there's a lot of space up there, and that one was, yeah, I think it was definitely high enough to do exactly what we said.
No balls and 2 strikes. Again, another weak ground ball. Elvis throws high and pulls Moreland off the bat. Elvis never looked comfortable once the ball got to him. Footwork, certainly not getting a good grip on the ball. And that's going to be an error charged to Elvis Andrus.
That's too bad. Martin got him to hit the ball right off the end of the bat. A simple play for Elvis, but I agree with you, Buzz. When he gets right about here, he just didn't look comfortable. The throw was high. Play he'll make 99 times out of 100. He's got a little bit off balance with his throw.
Yep. The first error of the ball game. Gonzalez at first. Chris Carter, the first baseman, comes up. There's a base hit to left center field. Gonzalez at second is going to try for third. And Napoli doesn't even bother. First and third with 2 outs.
The right-hand hitters for sure. Almost every one of them has swung at the first pitch. Altuve, Springer, not sure about Correa. Gaddis grounded out. Gonzalez swung at the first pitch. Carter swung at the first pitch. That one wasn't down and it wasn't sinking. That was right in his wheelhouse.
Well, first and third, now Martin Perez is going to go after a left-handed hitting Jason Castro. Castro, a .212 average, but 11 home runs and 30 RBI. He's a guy that has typically had some success against Ranger pitching. Now Gonzalez at third, Carter at first. Nothing in 1.
He wanted to, well, he did swing at the first pitch, but he wanted to swing at a fastball and a good pitch to hit. Couldn't stop, though.
Yeah, that was that good sharp breaking ball. Castro in his career against the Rangers has hit .255. He's had 150 at bats and 7 home runs. So he has done some damage before. Martin Perez trying to prevent that here. Marwin Gonzalez coming down the line from third, trying to distract Martin Perez, maybe provoke him into a balk. And Martin was having none of that. Adrian playing well off the line with the left-handed hitting Castro up there. And pretty much gives Marwin Gonzalez 30 feet of latitude to come down the third base line. He's trying to get far enough to get in the peripheral vision of Martin. Pitch down and away, and it's 2-1. Gary Pettis, the third base coach, coaching Marwin Gonzalez. The finer points of distracting the opposing pitcher. 3 balls and a strike.
You want to get the left-handed hitter here.
And you've lost the advantage once you fall behind 3-1. Right-handed hitting Jake Maristic in the on-deck circle. But as soon as you fall behind 2 balls and no strikes, or 3-1, the advantage left-hander is gone.
Plus, you can throw the slider for a strike, and he just missed with it. So pretty much, if you're the hitter, locked into a fastball right here.
Jimenez with the sign. Martin Perez ready. Got that fastball in a pretty good spot. 3-2. Now with 2 outs now, Carter will be on the move from first.
Well, the error definitely is causing Martin to pitch out of a jam, and probably cost him as many pitches after the error as he had before it.
Left-hander sets. Carter on the move from first. We'll have to retrace his steps. We'll do it all over. Three balls, 2 strikes with 2 outs. Martin Perez trying to exhale in this situation. He is ready. Another 3-2 pitch coming. That'll load him up from Marisnik. And Mike Maddox on his way out to the mound. Mike trying to find the magic phrase to tell Martin Perez. This has been a trouble spot. This is what we were talking about in the progressive scouting report about trying to build confidence. And part of the problem Martin has had, he get into a rough spot like this in the last couple of starts and not be able to make a pitch to get out of it. And things would kind of balloon out of hand. And next thing you know, you've allowed 2 or 3 runs in an inning when you had a shot a couple of times to make a pitch and get the final out.
Yeah, he definitely had the chances against Castro. That's the guy you wanted to get.
Oh, here's Marisnik, a .237 hitter.
Only a .206 hitter against left-handed pitching.
1 ball, no strikes. Marisnik 9 home runs, 33 driven in. And a .308 hitter with the bases loaded in his career. Martin still working from the stretch. Perez ready. The 2-0 pitch. One run is home. 2 runs are home. Marisnik going to second. He is in with a double. The Astros take the lead 2-1.
Martin was off to a great start when he got Gonzalez to hit the little dribbler to shortstop. He would have been out of the second inning facing 6 hitters and throwing about 19 or 20 pitches, but the error kept the inning alive. And then Martin was his worst enemy when he walked Jason Castro, a 200 hitter, left-hand hitter, to load the bases. Got behind Marisnik, and Marisnik was able to get a pitch to hit on the 2-0 count. Not a good turnaround to what started off as a simple inning.
In Martin's last start against Oakland on Tuesday night at the Coliseum, did the same thing in the second inning. Gave up 3 after he had a couple of outs. But just not able to make that pitch and get the out after he puts himself in position to have a fairly quick inning.
No, and you have to be able to overcome an error. It's nobody on, 2 outs. All right, you got a man on first and 2 outs. Just pitch your way out of it. You got the bottom of the order up there. Carter's a 191 hitter. Castro's a 212 hitter. Just make the pitches and get them out. You don't have to worry about it.
Exactly right. And you can almost see Martin Perez now. The pace is quickened. His mannerisms are quicker.
Yeah, nerves are taking over right now.
Exactly. Getting frustrated, getting angry. Falling behind Altuve, 2 balls, no strikes. Now 3-0. Well, he's 1 pitch away from reloading the bases for George Springer, the number 2 hitter. That was the 26th pitch of this inning for Martin Perez. Got Castro at third, Marisnik at second. 2 runs across. Rangers now trailing 2-1. Chris Jimenez trying to slow down Martin Perez a little bit. Three and 2.
One thing we've seen with Altuve the last 7 or 8 games, when there's men on base, he will expand the zone. Yeah. And he did it right there with that slider.
Perez, okay, is the sign. I thought he did. Now he's got it. We'll try that 3 and 2 pitch again. Altuve not hitting quite as well with runners in scoring position as he is overall. Of course, 302 is not a bad average with this situation. Altuve doubled to start off the game. He was thrown out by what at the time was a great play by Ruben Odor, trying to go from second to third on a ground out to Odor. Now another 3-2 pitch. Call strike 3.
That's something if you get him looking at strike 3.
2 strikeouts in the inning, but in between, the Astros scored twice on 2 hits and an error, and they lead 2 after 2. 2-1 Houston. Next Sunday is October 4th. It's also the last game of the regular season, and it's also Fan Appreciation Day. Join in Fan Appreciation festivities, and be sure to get to the ballpark early because the first 30,000 fans will receive a voucher good for a free ticket in 2016. Visit TexasRangers.com or call 972-RANGERS to get your tickets. Well, the Rangers come to bat now, trailing for the first time today. It's 2-1 Houston, and Delino to Shields starting things off with strike 1. Delino rounded out sharply to first, his first time up. Keuchel had not been very sharp the first couple of innings. And to Shields, it's one in the air to Rasmussen left field. 1 gone. Now before Shin-Soo Choo steps in for the second time, let's set it back to Dana Larson for a Mazda game break. All right, Dana, thank you. Choo takes strike 1. Shin-Soo, a base hit to right. Came around to score the Ranger run in that first inning. So Choo now at 277. That pitch just a little bit low. How about the month of September? The Jew is having a .425 average with 18 RBI. He grounds out here to Carter with Keuchel covering. That's out number 2. No, base is empty, 2 away. Adrian Beltre now will step up. Well, you got to take the same approach. Make sure you have the same approach now that you did with Keuchel before, because
stay patient.
If you don't, he is going to get himself in high gear and turn out the lights.
Well, he had just about 50 pitches through 2 innings, and now he's had a couple of quick outs here. Yeah, that's exactly right. You want him to settle down.
Beltre on check swing, ball 1. I believe he didn't foul that, did he? Adrian drew a walk in the first inning. Beltre having a great trip. He's gone 8 for 21 in the first 5 games of this road trip. How about him in the month of September? Most RBI in the American League, and only one player, Nolan Arenado, has more than him in the Major League. Arenado has 1 more than Beltre at 26 coming into play today. Two balls and a strike. Keuchel again working quickly. 2-2. Well, the first 1, 2, 3, and then Keuchel sends the Rangers down in order. We finished 2.5 at Minute Maid. It's the Astros 2 and the Rangers 1. Sports Southwest is brought to you by your Texas Ford dealers. Visit your local Texas Ford dealer today. Ford is the best in Texas. George Springer starting off the bottom of the 3rd inning, and he swings through a let-up pitch by Martin Perez. It is 0-1. Springer reached on a fielder's choice in the 1st inning. Well, 0 for 1 today, hitting at 263. Good sinking fastball in for strike 2. And Martin looks like he's calming back down now. Back to his normal mannerisms and the pace of his work. 1 ball, 2 strikes.
Obviously, a lot of Ranger fans came down to Houston for the series. Some that we know about are Tanya and Euless Whitecotton from Weatherford, and Dee Dee and Gary Knox from Burleson, here to cheer for the Rangers. Hoping the Rangers can keep on playing well and get to the postseason.
1-2 pitch. 2 balls and 2 strikes. Well, it won't be long now. 7 games left after this one. And Rangers will try and salt away a postseason seat. Seat in the postseason dance. Got him swinging. Taking a little bit off, and Perez gets his 3rd strikeout. Oh, 1 gone, and Carlos Correa coming up. Let's join us at the ballpark as the Rangers take on the Tigers tomorrow night. The key push to the playoff for the Rangers. It's courtesy of Fox Sports Southwest. Upper level and Lexus Club level tickets are only at $10 each. And visit TexasRangers.com and use the coupon code NEVEREVERQUIT. Get your specially priced tickets for tomorrow night. Correa tapped into a 1-4-3 double play that ended the first inning. Martin.
What he wants to do right there.
Employing that. Now that's not really his changeup. That's a little harder changeup. So maybe he's convinced himself to go ahead and throw a batting practice speed fastball as a changeup because it has that kind of movement. Sinking, tailing kind of movement that his fastball has.
Definitely throws their timing off. They're a little bit out in front of it.
There's the fastball, about 5 or 6 miles an hour quicker. Correa, 281 average as he faces Perez. 2-1 pitch coming. Two balls and 2 strikes. Call strike 3.
Those are good pitches.
That fastball popping into the glove right on that inside corner. That's 3 straight strikeouts now for Martin Perez, 4 this afternoon total.
Yep, just barely on that inside corner. You see where those pitches are. There's nothing in the strike zone.
Chris Jimenez doing a great job of catching that, sticking that glove right there. Let Vic Carapazza have a good look at exactly where that glove was. Didn't move an inch. 2 gone. Here's Evan Gattis, who saw 1 pitch and grounded to short his first time up. Gattis a 243 average. He had 26 home runs, 86 RBI. Those 2 numbers, the home runs and RBI, tops on the Astros club. 2 balls, no strikes. Also has 10 triples, which every time I say that in the same breath as Evan Gattis, I have to check myself, make sure I get it right. Last 7 ball games, Gattis has been swinging a hot bat for the Astros at .333. Ahead in the count here, 2 balls and no strikes. Slowly hit down to third. It's going to roll just into foul territory. That was all Adrian could do with that one. Just hope that it kicked off that grass, and it did. Well, Gattis back to home plate, and Robinson Chirinos out. I should say Chris Jimenez out to talk to Martin Perez.
Well, the Astros wanted to get another hitter, a designated hitter, a guy that could hit in the middle of the lineup and knock in some runs. They picked Gaddis, traded to Atlanta for him, and he's done everything they could want. 26 home runs, 86 RBIs, leads the team in home runs and RBIs. So he's definitely been a force in the middle of their lineup.
That's off the end of the bat. Moreland ranging wide. On to Martin Perez just in time to get Gaddis. He got down that line pretty well. Looks like runs like a guy with a lot of triples.
No wonder he's got 10 triples.
3 up, 3 down. Nice bounce back inning for Martin Perez. After 3, the Astros by 1. Game fireworks show. Fans attending the game against the division rival Angels will be treated to a post-game fireworks show themed to your favorite spooky music and get the countdown to Halloween going. Discounted tickets are available at TexasRangers.com using the online coupon code fireworks. Prince Fielder leading off here in the 4th for the Rangers. It's the middle third of the order. Fielder, Napoli, and Moreland. Keuchel with a high strike. It is 0-2 to Prince. Fielder got the RBI for the Rangers in the first inning and a ground ball to second that scored Shin-Soo Choo. The 91 driven in for the Ranger DH. A ball and 2 strikes. Fielder now against the Astros has an even 100 RBI. That was coming in. He's got a 101 now. But 29 home runs. Those are the highest totals that he has against any one team. Last 21 games against Houston, he has driven in 21. Career 61 ball games in this ballpark, a .339 average. Two balls, 2 strikes. Dallas Keuchel back to the plate. Prince Fielder caught looking. One gone.
Catcher sets up away. Ball is away. The first inning or so of this game, anything right around there was being called a ball. Now everything around there is being called a strike. It's going both ways, though.
Well, 4 strikeouts now for Dallas Keuchel. Here's Mike Napoli, who struck out his first time.
The zone's getting bigger and bigger.
Yeah, sure looks like it. I think that's probably what Mike Napoli's talking to Vic Carapazza about.
A guy like Keuchel is a guy that you hope that the umpire is not an umpire that has a liberal zone favoring the pitcher. They can take advantage of it a little bit better than other pitchers can. Guys like Keuchel.
Yeah, at least not a liberal zone on the outside. That's where Keuchel likes to live most of the time. A ball and 2 strikes to Napoli. Mike getting his 9th start in left field today. 2 balls, 2 strikes. Napoli, since joining the Rangers, that was back on the 8th of August, has hit .391 against left-handers. On 18 for 46. For the entire year, he's had 7 home runs against left-handers and just 113 plate appearances. That's fouled back. Napoli back in. Keuchel staring in for the sign. Now another 2-2. Ball, strike 3. Back-to-back called 3rd strikes. The fielder and Napoli. Napoli has his say to Carapazza, but that's about it. Now 2 away. Here's Mitch Moreland. Moreland tapped back to the mound his first time up. Actually tapped toward shortstop, and Keuchel was the fielder closest to the ball, so he went and got it. Oh, 1 pitch. Now 0-2. Moreland, like most of his Ranger teammates, having a very good road stand. Gone 7 for 21. He has that 7-game hitting streak. 310 averages, tied for the 4th longest streak going in the American League right now. Down on the count, no balls, 2 strikes here to Keuchel. The 1-2. Poked up the middle. Here's the shortstop, Perez. And it's another 1-2 for him. Keuchel now has retired the last 8 Rangers that he has faced. So he finished 3.5 in Minute Maid Park. It's the Astros 2 and the Rangers 1. Sports Southwest is brought to you by Southwest Airlines. Book your low fare now at southwest.com. And by Mazda. In every car we make, you'll see why driving matters. Well, the Astros come to bat here in the bottom of the fourth inning, leading the Rangers 2-1. Martin Perez going to work against Colby Rasmus. And misses with that first breaking ball. Rasmus struck out the first time that he faced Martin this afternoon. It'll be Rasmus, Gonzalez, and Carter here in the Astros fourth. Odor on to Moreland, one away.
After Marisnik's double, Martinez settled down nicely. Had 3 strikeouts, a couple of weak ground balls. And he's kind of back in his groove that he was in. Just kind of lost it after the error. With 2 outs and nobody on in the second inning.
And that error committed on a ball that the current batter, Marwin Gonzalez, hit. Gonzalez hit a ground ball that Elvis charged and just didn't look comfortable going after the ball. Might not have had a good grip on it, whatever the reason. The throw sailed a little bit, pulled Moreland off the bag, and then there was a Chris Carter single, a walk to Castro, and then the 2-run double by Marisnik. Now Gonzalez a 276 average as he stands in. One ball and 1 strike. Astros 2 runs on 3 hits. Rangers 1 run on just 1 hit. One hit came back in the first inning, and I told you, Dallas Keuchel looking more and more like he's settling into things himself. 2 balls and a strike to Gonzalez. Two-one pitch. A lot of balls beaten right into the ground today.
Yeah, there are.
Both sides doing that.
Well, Martin is a ground ball pitcher, and Keuchel is the ultimate ground ball pitcher.
I guess those kinds of results would tell you both guys had their pretty good sinker working.
Yeah, definitely.
Two and two. There's Jimenez flashing the signs out. Hard hit. Beltre picks it on the backhand.
Just another routine ground ball.
Adrian making that look, it's kind of like an afternoon at the beach. Wow. That's pretty good.
Take another look at it. A one-hop smash took the short hop, and Adrian picked it clean.
And in case you were wondering, that was not one of those weakly hit ground balls. That was a little more sharply hit. There's Chris Carter, who singled his first time up, and he there's a swing and a miss. It's 0-1.
And Martin threw a fastball the first time up and got it up a little bit on the inside part of the plate. Carter, as a lot of the Astro hitters are doing, jumped on the first pitch. That time he threw him a changeup. Got him a swing and miss at it. That ball pretty hard, but fortunately it's right at root net.
Now 3 ground balls and a chance for the Ranger defense to flash a little leather. 3 up, 3 down after 4. Astros by 1. Well, Southwest Airlines is celebrating the arrival of 8 new nonstop destinations out of Dallas Love Field. Just go to southwest.com/RangersLove to enter to win round-trip tickets. Rangers come to bat here in the top of the 5th inning, trailing 2-1 to Dallas Keuchel on the Astros. Elvis Andrus leading things off and takes a sinking fastball for strike 1. Andrus, the last Ranger to reach base. He walked with 1 out in the 2nd inning. And Keuchel, and that cutter off the inside part of the plate. 1 ball and 1 strike. Elvis a .259 average, trying to get a board to start off the Ranger 5th. Looks at strike 2. Infield plays Elvis a couple of steps around to the left. Outfield the opposite way. And Elvis gone on strikes. Keuchel with 6 strikeouts.
Well, Keuchel has definitely found his rhythm and found a liberal strike zone.
We get Rougned Odor coming up. Our Ford leaderboard today is John in American League ranks for Dallas Keuchel. 18 wins, tied for first. First in number of ground balls, first in opponents' on-base percentage and slugging percentage, second in ERA and innings. Quite a year, and Tom, you mentioned, and probably the front runner for the American League Cy Young Award.
I think he has to be.
Pitch is a little bit low to Rougned Odor, who grounded back to the mound his first time up.
He's pretty much doing whatever he wants with the ball right now.
Yep.
And one of the things he doesn't want to do is throw it in the strike zone, middle of the strike zone, and he's not.
1 ball, 2 strikes. Just off the outer edge. Odor at .268 with the average. Got him swinging. Back-to-back strikeouts. 7 this afternoon for Keuchel. 2 out.
Back on July 19th in this ballpark, Keuchel had a game where he pitched 7 innings, 2 hits, didn't walk a batter, and struck out 13. So the fact that he has 7 strikeouts, not something new. Rangers have seen him when he's got this kind of stuff, and boy, it didn't start out that way. 49 pitches through the first 2 innings. I swear, in the first 2 innings, the strike zone was tight. There were a lot of pitches that were close. Very few of them were called strikes. Since the 2nd inning, pretty much anything that has been close has been called a strike. It's like the strike zone expanded the last couple of innings, which is fine. It's working both ways. Astro hitters have reacted in similar fashion.
Now Chris Jimenez struck out back in the 2nd. Takes that breaking ball that hangs high and away. It's 2-1. Matter of fact, since that strikeout, Keuchel has faced 9 men, has struck out 6 of them. Three balls and a strike. Well, if Chris can extend this 5th inning, takes the Rangers back to the top of the order for Delino to Shields. The 3-1. Just trying to get his mind right before he steps back in. He's ready, so Keuchel. Payoff pitch on the way. Keuchel strikes out the side, has 8 this afternoon, and the crowd going crazy for their left-hander. 3 up, 3 down, halfway through the ball game. Astros lead the Rangers 2-1. Rangers Garden Gnome this season. This Tuesday, the first 15,000 fans will receive a Yu Darvish Gnome. That's thanks to Nitto Tire. Get to TexasRangers.com to get your tickets for the last giveaway of 2015. Jason Castro leading off for the Astros here in the bottom of the 5th. He takes a big curveball. It drops in for Martin Perez. Strike 1. Castro had probably the most important at-bat in that second inning, and the Astros scored their 2 runs. Came up with 2 on and 2 out. No runs across. Drew a walk. And that was the last left-handed hitter that Martin Perez would see for a couple at bats. So the opportunity to go after a left-hander, Martin let it slip by, and it was promptly turned into 2 runs by Jake Maristic the next inning.
And Castro's a .212 hitter on the year, high strikeout, low walk kind of guy. Made the walk even tougher to take.
0-2 to Castro. Got him swinging. Just completely overpowered him, Martin Perez, with his 5th strikeout. 1 away before Jake Maristic comes up again. Let's send it back to Dana Larson for a Mazda game break. All right, Dana, thank you. Now, Jake Maristic drove home both the Astros runs with 2 outs in the second. Hit a double to right center field. Well, Maristic now 35 RBI, hitting at .239. Two balls, no strikes. Perez 64 pitches thus far. 40 strikes, 24 balls. Chopper foul, puts the count at 2-1. Marisnik now with that double is 3 for 6 lifetime against Martin Perez. 3 balls and a strike. Now Marisnik hitting 9th in the order. Following him, the top of the order, and Jose Altuve. Three and two. That walk to Castro on the second, the only walk permitted by Perez so far this afternoon. Payoff pitch on the way. Line to right. Here comes Chu. Slides and makes the catch.
That's the best play Chu has made as a Ranger right there.
Yep.
He had to get a great jump on that line drive, charge it aggressively, lay out, and catch it right off the ground. Tremendous play. And again, we've said this a number of times, but in April, he doesn't make that play. Doesn't try to make that play. He's just a different player right now. Beautiful play by Chu. Got a good jump, never hesitated. Thought he lost a tooth. I think it was a sunflower seed came out of his mouth.
Let's hope that's what it was. And oddly enough, that's the first fly out by the Astros this afternoon. Rangers have only had one. Both these guys, with Perez and Keuchel, really got that sinker ball working.
Yeah, that's tough to call that a fly out, too.
Yeah, it is. Altuve is doubled and struck out. 1 ball and 1 strike. Altuve at 316 as he awaits the offering from Martin Perez. 2-1. Altuve in this series now 4 for 10. Perez trying to keep him off base with 2 outs here in the 5th inning. Altuve still leading the American League. You see 192 hits this year, on his way to another 200 hit season. The 2-2. Odor throws out his counterpart, and that'll do it. Well, 3 up, 3 down once again. Martin Perez now has retired 10 straight hitter. We'll go to the 6th inning. It's still the Astros leading by 1. a Sonic Slam inning brought to you by Sonic. Today's jackpot is worth $400 and dinner for two at Sonic Drive-In. If a Ranger hits a home run during this inning, Sylvia Tyler from Weatherford will win $400. And if a Ranger hits a grand slam this inning, Sylvia is going to take home $25,000. You can register at any participating Sonic restaurant. Well, the Rangers could use a slam or two. They trail 2-1 to Dallas Keuchel. Top of the order, Delino to Shields looking at a strike. It is 1-1. Delino has grounded out, and he has been the only Ranger to fly out in this ball game. Flied out to left field. That was back in the third inning. 1 ball, 2 strikes.
But both pitchers are just pounding the corners and having a lot of success in these middle innings.
1-2 pitch.
Rangers, if they can have a long inning this inning, Keuchel's at 94 pitches right now. And that might be it for him after 6 innings once he gets to around 110 pitches.
Need to find a way to get him out of there.
Yeah, of course, in this game, they might ask him to throw a few extra pitches.
Yeah, they could. Field down to first and no swing. Larry Vanover, or Ron Cope, I should say, the first base umpire. And nope. Two balls and 2 strikes. This is virtually a must-win for Houston.
Yeah.
Got him swinging.
Well, he's running it in, tailing it away, changing up, throwing curveballs.
9 strikeouts, 4 in a row for Keuchel. And he has 7 out of 8.
Well, the hitters on both teams have expanded the zones a little bit, but I think the reason they have is because Vic Carapaz is calling those borderline pitches all strikes. So definitely, if you have 2 strikes, you have to swing at them.
Shin-Soo Choo has the only hit of the afternoon for the Rangers. That was a 1-out single in the first. He came around to score on the ground out by Prince Fielder. 1 ball, 1 strike. Choo had a ground out to first his last time up. That was in the third. Two and 1. You know, Keuchel on a roll not only of 4 straight strikeouts, but he's retired 12 straight Rangers. Last Ranger to reach base, Elvis Andrus back in the second with a 1-out walk. Two and 1 to Choo. Now 3 and 1. Choo trying to break all those streaks. Get aboard here with 1 out. Got Adrian Beltre getting set in that on-deck circle. Three and 2. Choo back in. Keuchel never straying from the top of that hill. To the wind, the payoff pitch. Carter underhanded to Keuchel's behind him, but Keuchel, pretty athletic move to make the catch and to tag the bag at the same time. 2 out.
Yep, very athletic move by a Gold Glove fielding pitcher. With a glove on his right hand, he had to reach behind him almost to catch that ball. Good look at it right here. Exactly what Keuchel sees. That's looks simple because he's such a good fielder and so agile. But a less agile left-hander might not be able to catch it and touch the bag all at the same time like that.
Adrian Beltre takes the backdoor breaking ball out on the back porch somewhere. 1 ball, no strike. Beltre has struck out and walked. 1-1. Adrian hitting at an even 280 as he faces Keuchel. 2 outs, bases empty. Sharply hit, but Correa, the shortstop, gobbles it up, and that'll do it. 14 straight retired by Dallas Keuchel. Rangers out of the 6th after 5.5, 2-1 Houston. If you like non-stop action, heart-pounding excitement, and historic performances, don't miss the 2015 postseason. Begins October the 6th. Go to MLB.com/postseason for a full broadcast schedule. The Astros coming up now against Martin Perez here in the bottom of the 6th inning. George Springer leading things off. He gets turned around by that first inside fastball. Springer has reached center fielder's choice and struck out. 0 for 2 today, and the batting average currently at .262. To right field, way up in the air, so Chu plenty of time to get over under it. 1 out.
Another good pitch by Martin. Pitch outside. Springer hit a similar pitch the first time up, grounded out to second with a hit right off the end of the bat when he popped up. Pretty good pitch count for Martin. He's only thrown 74 pitches. And one little blip in the 2nd inning to 3 hitters: Carter, Castro, and Marisnik.
Yep.
Single, walk, double. That's so far through 6 innings anyway is the game. Unearned runs, 2 unearned runs.
Here comes Chu again. He's got to stop though and play this one on a hop. Correa got it right off the end of the bat. And he has a base hit with 1 out here in the 6th. Nothing Shin-Sig could do about that one. It just didn't carry far enough.
No, he got a good jump on it again. He was ready to go after it if he had a chance for it. But he stopped in time. Only the kind you dive for those, they bounce a foot out in front of you. He made the right call on that one. But he gave himself a chance to go after it if it went a little bit farther.
So 4 hits now for the Astros this afternoon. 1 on, 1 out. Evan Gattis, who has twice grounded out. Stepping in, Gaddis, the DH for the Astros. Martin going to see if he can't coax him into a third ground out. Might result in a double play. Gaddis, a .242 hitter. Has pretty good power, pretty good gap power. Likes to hit the ball up the middle of the diamond. One ball, no strikes. Gaddis so far in this series is 3 for 9. Had a sacrifice fly yesterday, driving in his 86th run of the year. At the knees, 1 ball and 1 strike. Jimenez flashing the signs out. Correa steps off a modest lead at first.
Down goes Frazier. Fans love it. Everybody likes it.
Somebody's writing that down so they can remember it for Kangaroo Court.
I'll tell you what, that's about as hard as he can possibly swing right there. And that's pretty hard, too. He didn't stay down for a standing 8 count, that's for sure.
Well, Gaddis picks himself up, dusts himself off, back in the batter's box. 1 and 2. Just missed the outside corner. Martin trying to do a little painting, and the brush came back dry. 2 balls, 2 strikes. Infield and outfield play Gaddis just about straight away. Both Andrews and Odor up a step at double play depth. Now Gaddis back in. Perez peering in for the sign from Jimenez. Left-handers ready. Sharply hit, a fair ball down the third base side. It's going to kick back into fair territory. Gaddis is going to stop at first. On to third goes Correa. Runners at the corners, 1 out for Colby Rasmus.
The pitch was kind of a little bit cutting action inside, down and in, off the plate. That's a hard ball to keep fair. Gaddis is able to do that with authority right down the line. Fortunately, the ball bounces right out to Napoli. Gaddis is only able to get to first base, and now you at least have a chance for a strikeout or a double play.
Colby Rasmus coming up. Rasmus has struck out, grounded out to second. Problem with having Rasmus up there, he doesn't ground into many double plays, just 2 all year. Pretty much a fly ball hitter.
Better resort to the strikeout then.
Yeah. Ball 1. Well, Rasmus has done that. Rasmus in about 415 at bats has struck out 147 times. Perez ready, a check of the runners. Fires in a strike to even the count. Astros just 1 for 3 today with runners in scoring position. Third lowest average in the American League in these situations. Good tailing fastball, kind of tied up Rasmus. 1 ball, 2 strikes.
And Keuchel's used that pitch very effectively today as well. Ball tailing into the left-hand hitters on the inside part of the plate.
Chris Jimenez giving the signal for the fastball outside. 2 balls and 2 strikes. Martin Perez, 85 pitches under his belt. Now he is ready to work. Check swing, it's 3-2. Ross Ollendorf loosening and looks to be just about ready in that Ranger bullpen. Full count with 1 out. Gaddis at first, Correa at third. Marwin Gonzalez in the on-deck circle. Rasmus chopping that right down on his front foot. Colby Rasmus time with St. Louis Cardinals, Toronto Blue Jays. Three and 2. Perez okays the sign. Got him swinging.
Good pitch.
Fastball moving away from Rasmus, gets the strikeout for out number 2.
That same pitch he threw him the first time up, Buzz. Remember when you said that ball had that cutting action to it? Good fastball. You see some of the pitches are away, several of them are in. So he really worked Rasmus over very well that at bat, pounding him in, getting him away. Tough combination of pitches to deal with.
A good time for the strikeout as Martin picks up his 6th strikeout of the afternoon. 2 away now. Marwin Gonzalez, and he's a pretty tough customer to handle. Hitting .275, but he's reached on an error and scored. Also grounded to third. Rangers shade him around to the left side. He's a switch hitter, batting right-handed against Martin Perez. Taking a little bit off, got a swing and a miss. There's the changeup.
Yep.
Good look at the Ranger defense. The outfield pretty much straight away. The infield a few steps around to the left side. Gonzalez yesterday got the start in left field for the Astros. Oh, and 1. That evens the count.
You think Martin can pick off Gaddis at first base? Watch the lead that Gaddis takes. He takes the same lead he had last time. He's about a foot off the base.
Not exactly adventuresome over
No,
there.
he's not going to take any chances.
You'd have to hit him with the pickoff throw, knock him out. 1 ball, 2 strikes on the foul ball.
Martin trying to pitch out of a jam right here. One more pitch. Pop it up.
Correa, the runner at third, had a single with one out. The Evan Gattis single. Correa advanced to third base. Then the big strikeout of Colby Rasmus. Now Perez ahead of the count. 1 ball and 2 strikes to Marwin Gonzalez. 2-2. Gonzalez batting just about where he is overall with runners in scoring position, 276. Perez set and back to him. Beltre on the short hop on to Moreland. That'll do it. Oh, nice job by Martin Perez. No runs, 2 hits, and 2 left for the Astros. We're going to the 7th inning. It's the Astros 2 and the Rangers 1. It all happened early today. Prince Fielder with the RBI ground out, driving home Shin-Soo Choo. Rangers on top 1-0. Then it was Jake Baristic, an opposite field 2-run double. Not the Astros, their only runs of the afternoon. That was in the 2nd inning, and it has been 2-1 ever since. As Dallas Keuchel goes to work here in the top of the 7th to Prince Fielder. Be Fielder, Napoli, and Moreland. Keuchel on a pretty good roll right now. Has retired the last 14 Rangers he has faced. He's gotten Fielder twice on a ground ball and a strikeout. Keuchel with 9 punch outs today. The 2 walks, 1 in the first, 1 in the second. 1 ball, 1 strike. 1-2. Keuchel now on 108 pitches under his belt. Left-hander with a 1-2 pitch. 2-2. Keuchel this year has gone as high as 121. That was the last game in August that he pitched against Seattle in 7 innings. Been pretty regularly 115 to 118. off the end of the bat. That's cued foul over toward the Ranger dugout. Still 2-2 to Prince. Fielder's average stands at .305 as he faces Keuchel. Sharply hit on 2 hops, so right to Altuve. 1 out. Next will be Mike Napoli. Napoli today has struck out both times that he has faced Keuchel. Once swinging, that was in the first inning, and he was called out in the 4th inning. Well,
you can count on one finger the amount of fastballs he's thrown inside that strike zone.
Yeah, they've all been on the outside looking in, haven't they?
They have.
Little looper up the middle. Altuve gets it, but the throw. No way to get enough throw.
They sprinted 40 yards to try to make that play.
I know Knapp doesn't run as well as some other people, but that's trying to make that throw thinking you're going to get him. That's a little bit disrespectful.
That ball just tailing away from him. He's out in right field now. That's pretty good just to make that play if it was during infield practice and no one was running. I think he just wanted to see if he could get it to first base accurately. I don't think there's any way he thought he was going to throw him out. I ran that far. I'm going to try to complete that play. Just see what it looks like.
Well, Will Venable now has come on to replace Mike Napoli. Well, Venable pinch running with 1 out here in the 7th inning. That's the first Ranger to reach base since the 2nd inning. 1 on, 1 out. Mitch Moreland, a couple of ground outs, steps to the plate. Mitch is tapped back to the mound and grounded to short. Although that's a little bit of a misnomer, but in this case, the shortstop Carlos Correa is playing on the first base side of second. Astros in that overshift. 0-1. Now 0-2.
There's that same pitch, that tailing fastball inside corner. So hard. I don't think a left-hand hitter has put that in play yet.
I don't think there's many left-handers to keep that ball fair if they hit it, even they got the bat on it. Now time called. Keuchel making sure Venable didn't have a walking lead at first. Venable in as a pinch runner for Mike Napoli. Napoli had just the second base hit of the afternoon for the Rangers. Moreland takes in the dirt, 1 ball and 2 strikes. Well, Moreland has already set a season high for himself as far as home runs against left-handed pitchers. He has 5 of them this year. That's the most he's ever had against southpaws in his season. Be kind of a nice time for number 6. Two gone. That is strikeout number 10 for Dallas Keuchel.
The way Keuchel's pitching now, you might get a single or a walk, but it's impossible to get a home run right now because none of the pitches he's throwing you could hit a home run on him anyway.
Well, 2 outs. Elvis stepping in, walked his first time up. That was back on the second. struck out leading off the 5th. 1 ball, no strikes. Venable, the pinch runner, is at first. He is carrying the tying run. Elvis, a .258 hitter.
There's a high pitch, but not in the strike zone.
Yeah, one of the rare ones we've seen him go up there with. 5th game this year for Dallas Keuchel, 10 or more strikeouts. As Tom told you, his high this year is the 13 that he had against the Rangers back here in July. 2-1. That was pitch number 120 for Dallas Keuchel. 70 strikes, 50 balls. Now, under normal circumstances, you would say this is probably his last hitter, regardless. These are not normal circumstances. There goes Venable, and there's no sense even throwing for Castro. He just did it to loosen up his arm. Venable with the stolen base. He guessed right on Keuchel.
Keuchel turned his head toward the plate, and he must not have caught him out of the corner of his eye, because he was going before Keuchel ever made a move to the plate.
Well, Venable gets himself into scoring position now. That is the tying run out there. 2 balls, 2 strikes to count to Elvis Andrus. Not time call. Castro's going to go out and have a chat with Keuchel. The Astros yesterday had a tough time putting away the Rangers. Rangers scored 3 in the 9th inning to make it a 2-run game. See if that has an effect on how the Astros deal with the Rangers late in this ball game. 2-2 with 2 outs. Fly ball to left, not very deep. A trio of Astros over there. Correa in foul territory makes the catch. And Dallas Keuchel is out of the inning. No runs, a hit, 1 left. We'll take the stretch at Minute Maid Park. The Astros 2 and the Rangers 1. Now please join the public address announcer as he introduces God Bless America.
It's our Sunday afternoon tradition here at Minute Maid Park. Ladies and gentlemen, we kindly ask that you please rise and join us as we pause, not only to honor our great nation, but to thank and salute those who protect our freedoms around the world each and every day. Please join Nicholas Connors with the singing of God Bless America.
God bless America. Let that love stand beside her and guide her through the night with the light from above, from the mountains to the prairies, to the oceans wide with foam. God bless America, my home sweet home. God bless America, my home sweet home.
a pitching matchup between Martin Perez and Dallas Keuchel. Both of them had a little bit of a problem early, but boy, once they got going after the second inning, it was lights out. Keuchel has struck out 10 in his 7 innings of work, and Martin Perez has given up 2 unearned runs in his 6 innings of work. And the two left-handers have been just outstanding here today. 2 walks for Keuchel, 1 for Martin. Martin finished after his 6 innings, and he gives way to the 33-year-old right-hander Ross Ohlendorf. Ohlendorf's first pitch, a breaking ball. Chris Carter checked his swing for ball 1. Ohlendorf appearing in his 18th ball game. This is his second tour of duty with the Rangers, 3-0. Picked up his 3rd win here on Friday night. Came in relief. That was the game that Giovanni Gallardo started and couldn't complete 5 innings. Ohlendorf got that win and in an inning and a 1/3 of work that night. 1-1 pitch to Carter. That ball is gone. Chris Carter with his 22nd home run of the year. The Astros have a 3-1 lead.
Carter's a dangerous hitter. He's a 190 hitter, and he strikes out a lot. But he goes through streaks, and he gets hot, and he hits a lot of home runs. And in the last 9 games, he's hitting over 400 with 5 home runs. He's in one of those streaks. A little bit earlier, he couldn't get in the lineup. He wasn't even playing. And now he's gotten hot again. And when you make a mistake, especially with a fastball, that's what he can do with it.
Now Castro dumping one into center. That's down for a base hit. And Jason Castro with his first hit of the afternoon. Going back to Chris Carter, that fastball that I guess Ross was trying to get in further, but when you get it down, you miss down and in. That's not a good spot on Chris Carter.
No, he likes to hit early in the count. He likes to hit the fastball. You can get him to wave in a lot of pitches out of the strike zone, slower pitches. And you can get him out with that pitch when he's going bad. But right now, unfortunately, he's in one of those little streaks where he gets hot.
Mike Maddox out to slow things down a bit for Ross Ohlendorf, who's given up the home run and a single. The first 2 hitters he faced here in the 7th inning. Jake Perez will be the hitter when this conference is concluded. Headed back to the Ranger dugout. Jake Perez 1 out of 2 this afternoon with a 2-run double in the 2nd inning. Last time up, Shin-Soo Choo robbed Maristic of the extra bases. Diving, sliding catch out in right field. Nice stop by Chris Jimenez. 1 ball, no strikes. Maristic checking with the 3rd base coach, Gary Pettis. See what A.J. Hinch might have in mind here. Gary, former Ranger coach. Castro at first. And Ohlendorf drives him back. Now Ross sets. 1 ball and 1 strike. Ohlendorf came back to the Rangers for his 2nd time when the rosters were expanded on September the 1st. We'll shore up the front end of that bullpen a bit. Rangers brought Frost and Luke Jackson up. And they eventually added Chichi Gonzalez, Nick Martinez to help Anthony Bass out in case they needed some longer men. And fouled back by Marisnik. 1-2. Ohlendorf okays the sign. The right-hander to the plate. 2 balls and 2 strikes. In the dirt. And again, Chris Jimenez blocking it nicely. But the count goes full. Marisnik hitting in the number 9 slot. Next, the Astros go back to the top of the order for Jose Altuve. Castro away from first. Ohlendorf checks it. 3-1 pitch. Popped up. Way up there, Adrian Beltre calling for the fair catch. That is out number 1. And before Altuve comes up again, let's send it back to Dana Larson for a Mazda game break. All right, Dana, thank you very much. Now 1 out with Castro still at first. Jose Altuve 1 for 3. Steps to the plate. Altuve had that first inning double. He's also struck out and grounded out. And Ohlendorf able to get that breaking ball right on the outside corner. Altuve in his career just 1 for 7 against Ohlendorf. Right center field, going over his cue, and he makes the catch. Castro back. That is out number 2. Looked like that ball coming off Altuve's bat was hit better than that.
Yeah, off the bat it did, and then when you watched it go toward the outfield, it just kind of died out there. Must not have hit it that well.
Well, folks, this Wednesday, Rangers play the final game of this 3-game set against the Detroit Tigers. It's also the last chance this season to enjoy Dollar Hot Dog Night. Go to TexasRangers.com to get tickets for the Tiger Series. And don't forget, Wednesday night, Dollar Hot Dog Night, last chance at the ballpark. George Springer 0 for 3 today. He is flied out, grounded out, and struck out. .261 average. Springer batting with 2 outs. Castro at first. Already a run across here in the 7th for the Astros. They lead it 3-1 now. A ball and a strike. Will Venable is, you probably have guessed by now, staying in the ball game to take over in left field. Came on as a pinch runner for Mike Napoli. Just outside, 2 balls and a strike. Springer waiting as Ollendorf reads the signs. Good breaking ball. Ollendorf had Springer well out in front of it. 2-2. Ross gets that straight over the top rotation. Gives you that 12-6 break. Now the right-hander is set. Three and two. Well, the count goes full, and with 2 outs now, Castro will get a running start from first. If Springer is able to extend this 7th inning, Carlos Correa would be the next hitter. Ollendorf checking first. There goes Correa. Got him swinging. Breaking ball stayed up, but Springer couldn't make contact. A run on Chris Carter's leadoff home run. The Astros strand a runner. We're going to the 8th. It's now the Astros 3 and the Rangers 1. Report on the Rangers' remaining schedule for you. Last road game of the regular season today. After today, the Rangers fly back home. It's 3 with Detroit and then 4 with the Angels to close out the regular season. And that Angel series looks to be a great import if things don't change here this afternoon and the Astros play well on the road. The Rangers have a little trouble with Detroit. You never know. Oliver Perez, the veteran left-hander, has come on now to take over for Dallas Keuchel. Nobody happier than in the building than the Rangers to see Dallas Keuchel out of there. Oliver Perez dealing to Rugen Odor. Odor bluffing a bunt. Gets strike 1. A couple of defensive changes for the Astros. We'll catch up those in just a second. Odor today 0 for 2. He has tapped back to the mound and struck out. Veteran left-hander Oliver Perez to the plate. A chopper fair down the first base side. It's going into the corner. Springer over to dig it out. Odor not stopping at second. He is headed for third, and he is in standing with a leadoff triple.
Oh, a lot of Ranger fans here. Sounds like a home crowd cheering. And a couple of them right behind home plate. That would be it for Oliver Perez.
A.J. Hinch not wasting any time.
Turn your back to the plate. Didn't work for him that time.
A leadoff three-bagger. Left-handed hitting Odor is the only one that Perez was asked to face. Rigged it at third with nobody out. Chris Jimenez, the scheduled hitter. We'll see if that stays pat. We'll take a timeout for this pitching change at Minute Maid Park. Rangers making noise here in the 8th, trailing 3-1. But the Rangers with a leadoff triple from Rougned Odor making noise here in the 8th inning. And A.J. Hinch has gone to his bullpen once again. It's Will Harris. Harris came on yesterday in that 9-7 Astros win to get the save. He got the final. I got Mitch Moreland to ground out with runners at second and third. And now he's going to face a pinch hitter for the Rangers, Josh Hamilton. Josh in there to pinch hit for Chris Jimenez. And he takes outside for ball one. Hamilton 1 for 4 in yesterday's game. Had 3 strikeouts. First start since coming back from left knee surgery. And that pitch outside. It is 2 balls and no strikes. Hamilton has had one other at bat against Harris, and he struck out. Josh, a .253 hitter, 6 home runs, and 29 driven in. 2-1.
He's definitely staying away from him.
Yeah.
You can get in trouble throwing Josh away, though, because that's not far to those Crawford boxes in left field.
Well, Josh is as strong as anybody once he makes up his mind to go that way with a pitch. Also, big slow hook. 2-2. Outfield plays Hamilton a couple of steps around to the left. The infield in an overshift. Way around to the right. 3 players on the right side of the diamond. Got him swinging. There's a big overhand curveball. Disposes of Hamilton, 1 out. And that takes the Rangers back to the top of the order for Delino DeShields.
A little bit like Ross Ohlendorf's curveball. Sharp breaking and straight down.
Delino 0 for 3 today. A ground out, a fly out, and a strikeout. One ball and no strikes. Delino almost 60% of the time has gotten that runner home from third with less than 2 out. Goes back to that last half inning for the Astros too. The leadoff home run by Chris Carter. How big an impact that's had on the ball game.
No doubt about it.
No longer have the tying run at third after the Odor triple. 2-1. Harris back to the plate. Chopper to short. That's going to get the run home. Out at first is the Shields. He gets the RBI as Odor scores. Makes it a 3-2 Astros lead. Now there are 2 outs with the bases empty. Yeah, good job by Delino to get that run home. And
got to get that one home.
The ball in play. Now Shin-Soo Choo will step in. That run, by the way, goes on the ledger of Oliver Perez. Choo 1 for 3. He has grounded out twice to first base. He singled his first time up today, back in the first inning, and scored the first Ranger run. 0-1. Now 0-2. Choo hitting at .276. Will Harris with a new baseball, rubbing it up. Astros faithful making some noise here at Minute Maid. 1 ball and 2 strikes. Choo with home runs in back-to-back games has hit 1 to right and 1 to left. He has shown no favoritism here at Minute Maid Park. 2-2.
Choo probably the least likely to swing at a curveball out of the strike zone.
A.J. Hinch, Astros first-year manager, trying to turn cheerleader, although he's thinking about a few other things.
Trying to stay calm.
Yeah. Harris ready, back to the plate. High, ball 3. Now Choo represents the tying run in this ball game. He gets on. Adrian Beltre would come to the plate as the go-ahead run. Big Prince fielder. He would be third out. Now the payoff pitch. Up the middle. Correa behind second. That'll do it for the Rangers. They do get a run on a hit. Nobody left. After 7.5, it's the Astros 3 and the Rangers 2.
Astros with some work to do as we head to the bottom of the 8-3-2. Houston on top. This is the finale of a 3-game series between these two teams and the finale of a 6-game road trip, which means we open a homestand tomorrow. The Detroit Tigers come to town for a 3-game set. There you see a couple of the hot-hitting principals in this one. Same time, well, I guess it's a different time. Night game tomorrow night, 7 o'clock first pitch right here on Fox Sports Southwest. A big thanks to the folks at AT&T Ubers for getting us ready.
All right, Sam Dyson has come into the ballgame to take over for the Rangers. Dyson, his 26th appearance in a Ranger uniform. He's gone 2-1, and he has been outstanding. A 1.42 ERA with the 2.28 opponent's average. Throwing that power sinker, only 4 walks and 23 strikeouts. New battery made for him. Bobby Wilson has entered the ballgame to take over behind the plate. Carlos Correa is 1 for 3 as he starts things off. Elvis out number 1. Correa grounds out to his counterpart. Drew Stubbs has entered the ballgame, taken over in center field for Delino DeShields. Now Sam Dyson will face Evan Gattis. Last time we saw Sam Dyson was here on Friday night. Worked an inning. Took him 15 pitches to get the 3 outs, gave up a hit, had a strikeout. Up the middle into center field. Gattis has his 2nd straight hit. A 1-on, 1-out for Colby Rasmus. Well, while we have a second here, let's take a look at our strongest fan photo selection of the day. T-Mobile makes all this possible. This one comes to us from Amy. Amy, we appreciate it very much. Thank you. Great picture. And if you folks would like to tweet your picture, just use hashtag Southwest Data Strong Fans. And like Amy's picture was selected today, yours might be selected in one of our upcoming Ranger telecasts. T-Mobile makes it all possible for the interaction. Carlos Gomez has come off the bench now to pinch run for Evan Gattis. Gomez, who had been out for the last 15 ball games with an intercostal strain, ribcage strain, good enough to pinch run anyway for Evan Gattis. And Colby Rasmus swinging strike 1. Rasmus has struck out twice today and grounded out. All 3 of his previous at-bats against the starter, Martin Perez. There goes Gomez. The pitch is low, and Bobby Wilson can't get the handle on it. Gomez steals 2nd.
And they've missed Gomez, no doubt about it. They made the big trade to get him. Didn't get off to much of a start offensively. Coming down the stretch, he's a veteran guy that they would love to have had in their lineup. Makes his presence known in this game, though, with a pinch running stolen base.
Now Mike Maddox out to talk with Dyson and Wilson. Gattis, of course, Rasmus, of course, the left-handed hitter. You've got first base open now, and I guess the question would be, with a 1-1 count, do you want to go after Rasmus? You have a switch hitter. Marlon Gonzalez was the next scheduled hitter, but Preston Tucker, a left-handed hitter, in the on-deck circle. One ball and 1 strike. And Sam Dyson, probably a good idea to check Carlos Gomez back. Gomez is probably overamped getting into a ball game for the first time in a while.
He's probably thinking, if I get a big enough lead, I can beat Beltre at third base.
Yeah. Chop down the first base side. Right there at the bag is Mitch Moreland. He steps on first. Gomez on to third, but now he's there with 2 outs. And Preston Tucker is going to be announced here shortly. Preston Tucker steps in as a pinch hitter. 248 average, 13 home runs, 33 driven in. All of the damage, all 13 home runs have come against right-handed pitching for Tucker. Tucker 3 out of 10 with 2 pinch hit home runs this year. Swinging strike 1.
Tucker's been a good pinch hitter too. A couple of pinch hit home runs.
Reja pulled the infield around to the right. Elvis just a step or so on the third base side of second. Off the glove of Wilson for a backstop. Here comes Gomez to throw to the plate. Safe at home plate.
If it was anybody but Gomez, they had a shot at the plate.
And they're going to take a look at this immediately. Jeff Bannister out of the Ranger dugout, so that didn't take long. So, yeah, we've got to take a look at it.
Bobby Wilson got to it quickly. Dyson covered.
Yeah, unfortunately,
he got his hand in.
That left hand slid right across home plate. Vic Garapazza right on top of it. Well, what a nice play, though, on both ends. You mentioned Bobby Wilson getting to the ball and Sam Dyson covering home. The crew chief, Larry Vanover, along with Vic Garapazza. Headsets on, in contact with Replay Command Center in New York, and didn't take long. Safe at home, the call, I'm sure, confirmed. And a huge play as that makes it a 2-run advantage once again. Now 4-2 Houston. And that's going to be scored a passed ball on Bobby Wilson. The 1 ball and 1 strike. Now time called. Sam Dyson doing the right thing, is going ahead and going right through with the motion. And you see Bobby going out there with the glove. And the proper ruling is a pass ball. 2-1 to count to Tucker. The Astros on top now 4-2. They've out hit the Rangers 8-3 here this afternoon. Foul straight down. The count evens at 2 balls and 2 strikes. Well, one thing we can say for sure now, though, Dallas Keuchel is going to go undefeated this year at home.
That's true.
He's going to be at least 14-0, and that sets a new modern Major League standard. Or he's going to be 15-0, which furthers them.
Yeah, hopefully he won't win, but he's not going to lose, that's for sure.
The 2-2 pitch. Hit well to center field. Stubbs retreating toward Towles Hill. Plenty of room. And that'll do it. But the Astros come up with a huge insurance run. A run on a hit, nobody left. We'll go to the 9th inning. 4-2 Houston. here today. And yesterday, Luke Gregerson came on to start tonight, got 2 outs very quickly, then gave up a base hit, another base hit. This one, an infield single to Delino to Shields, then Chew, an infield single. So 3 consecutive base hits, fielder, and a 2-run double. And then he plunked Beltre, and Luke Gregerson, as A.J. Hinch was coming out to the mound, tried to get him to stop before he crossed the first baseline. Said, no, go ahead, I'm going to stay in the ballgame. And A.J. Hinch says, no, you're not. You're not staying in here.
Yeah, he was not very happy.
No, Gregerson back out there today, though, and credit to A.J. Hinch for sticking with the guy that he needs as his closer. And Gregerson facing Beltre, Fielder, and Venable. First 3 Rangers here in the 9th today, and a 2-run lead. That was a 9-4 lead as that inning started yesterday. And Beltre shoots one to center, but right at Jake Maristic. That was out number 1. Now 1 gone as Beltre flies out. Next will be Prince Fielder. Fielder hit that rope right inside the bag yesterday down the right field line. See, Prince has enjoyed hitting against Gregerson in the past. 6 for 8 in his career. First pitch to him here. Foul ball, strike 1. Fielder 6 for 8. Half of those 6 hits have been doubles. Nothing and 2. Fielder had an RBI on a ground out in the first inning. Struck out in the 4th, grounded out in the 7th. Gregerson to the wind. The 0-2 pitch. 2 gone. Well, Astro fans starting to stand here at Minute Maid Park, and a lot of applause all around for Houston, including their skipper, A.J. Hinch. Will Venable will try to keep this 9th inning and this game going for the Rangers. Venable 197, had a pinch hit, base hit yesterday. No home runs, 3 RBI. Fan Appreciation Day down here in Houston. Ranger fans, don't forget a week from today, you'll have Fan Appreciation Day at Grove Live Park in Arlington. 0-1 to Venable. Gregerson back to the plate. Venable at 197 with the Rangers. Overall, a 247 average. And a time call as Gregerson taking a little too long for the liking of Will Venable. Now 2 outs, bases empty. Rangers trailing 4-2 here in the 9th inning. One and 2. And 2 strikes. Well, Ranger fans, do not despair if the Rangers don't come back. Well, I'm not saying they won't, but they're still going to Be 2.5 games ahead of the Astros, coming back home, starting the final 7 games of the regular season at Globe Life Park. 2-2. Altuve on to first, and the Astros win it. They win 2 out of 3. 2 out of 3 that the Astros had to win. Rangers fall today 4-2 the final, and now the lead down to 2.5 games. But the Rangers coming home to finish things off at Globe Life Park in Arlington. Well, 4-2 the final here this afternoon as the Astros on Fan Appreciation Day here in Houston get the W. We'll be back to Minute Maid Park with more right after this on Fox Sports Southwest.